The time is upon us. This is Gandhi's Thoughts number 50. I have to say that this is probably one of the hardest topics I've ever done in my entire life. I've spent probably 3 hours. 2 hours consisted of researching completely with Mickwin, just on placings and awards and stuff like that. Sadly, the 2008, 2009, 2010 awards are very, very difficult to find, so it caused me a bunch of fucking problems, and I gave up on doing a lot of them. But regardless, today I am going to be doing my top 20 players of all time. Okay. Now, before we get into this, it is important to note that this is my opinion, and how I'm looking at it is this way. I'm looking at, the number one thing I'm looking at if you are dominant in more than just one game. So, for instance, Ogre 2, right? Like, he had the chain of games. He had 4 total games that he was just disgusting at, right? So that adds a lot of emphasis. So I take longevity of career plus your individual skill and basically your reputation in that scene and the legacy you left behind. Okay, those 3 things kind of mixed together for me is exactly how I was able to come up with my top 20. Because if I were to do just skill, then it gets all down to like opinions, and I didn't, and then it would have to be year by year breakdown, right? And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do the top 20 players of all time, and that's the only algorithm that I could figure out. And I didn't even find a system for it. I just went with my personal. So without further ado, I have no graphics for this, so you guys will not be able to see any of their faces. Even if I bought XSplit, I only have 12 scenes, so it just wasn't happening. So we're going to start from the bottom, and we're going to work our way up top, all right? So coming in at number 20, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shocker to some people, but I will explain why. I have Strongside rounding out the very bottom of the top 20 players overall in Halo history. Now, Strongside is a 6-time event winner. He is notorious for staying alive. He also has a move named after him called Strongsiding, which is when you stick your head in between your groin and you run away and you just stay alive. That was coined named Strongside. Now, he is a national champion. He finished, in my opinion, in Halo 2 at the 2007 season, probably top 3, if not top 2, if not top 1. He was that good at the end of Halo 2. Him or Ogre 2 is really a toss-up for the best player at the end of the 2007 season, so that's kind of why he's there. But also, the other thing is that he kind of came out of nowhere. In 2005, I remember his first event was Vegas 05. And I remember I lost that event to Tsquared, and I just remember seeing this weird-looking surfer guy. He had this like surfer appeal. He had the long hair, and he had this like Bob Marley shirt. And I was like, look at this fucking stoner, right? But he doesn't smoke pot. He just likes the shirts. I know. I think he knew like 5 Bob Marley. God damn it. 5 Bob Marley songs, like, total. But he just likes the shirts, and they were colorful, they were cool. And so, sure enough, he ended up teaming with us, and then we dropped him, and then he went on to Final Boss to win his 2007 National Championship. Now, the reason I have him at 20 is because after Halo 2, he didn't really do much in the sense of being a top 20 caliber player. Now that I look at it, he could actually be number 7 or number 19, but I don't think so. The big thing with Side is he won 1 event in Halo 3, yes, but then after that it was like a complete downward slope for Side. Like, he never really came back into the strong side appeal. He was never that amazing player that he was in Halo 2 ever again. He had glimpses of it, sure, in Halo 3. Not really in Halo Reach, and sure, yes, he did win the Infinity truck. He won the Infinity Challenge, and he won the Halo 4 truck. Awesome. That's a great achievement to have. But in the sense of competitive Halo history, I have him at number 20. Number 19 is a guy that we are all very, very familiar with. Also, I should note that I only took Halo 4 into consideration for some people to make the list. And the only 2 people I did that for was Heinz and Snipedown. And so without further ado, here is Richie Heinz. Now, Richie Heinz is a player who has been around for a very, 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 very long time. He started off as kind of an FFA guy and just kind of throwing makeshift teams together and getting top 32. But in the end of Halo 2, he started getting into a rhythm, but he also was getting older. And as we all know, because I preach about it so often, Age actually correlates to how well you place. Now, I personally think you peak around 21, or I mean, you end up going downhill at 21 just because real life takes over. But 15 to 19 is when players excel, and that's exactly what Richie Heinz did. In this time, Richie Heinz won 4 total events at MLGs. He has 3 AGL wins and currently is on the best Halo 4 team, and who have only lost, I think, a total of 6 games out of 3 events that they've attended with this lineup. Now, if we also take an event before that and use APG as well on that mix, I think they only dropped 1 game with APG as well. So Richie Heinz is an extremely disgusting player. The other reason why I put Richie Heinz in this is because after Halo 2, he has won an event in every single game since then, including now he is on a 3-peat in Halo 4. So you have Halo 3, an event win, you have Halo Reach, an event win, and Halo 4, an event win. That's pretty fucking big. But the big thing here as to why he's only at 19th is because he has no national championship. Richie Heinz, so many awards on different things, support player, strategist, objective player. Great guy, great personality, good BR, solid shots, a pretty decent FFA player. But he is cursed in the finals. When a national championship comes, he is cursed. If you guys aren't familiar with this, the 2009 championship, they were playing Classic. It was a semifinals matchup. Everything was going according to plan. They were up 2-1. They were on onslaught, capture the flag. Malfunction with Hysteria's box at the worst time ever. They're getting ready to cap the final flag, right? And they're up by, I think, 2 flags. They're getting ready to cap this final flag. His box goes out. When he lands, he's not on the flag, right? When the host comes back from getting booted, he lands, he's not on the flag, so they don't score. So they have to replay the entire game. And I remember I was sitting there, I was casting next Bucket, and I was like, Bucket, dude, what do we do about this? Like, he obviously had, and he was like, dude, the only thing we can do is go to the commissioner. And I was like, oh, God. And so, that team was SK, Hysteria, Pistola, and Heinz. And they had Coach Bravo in the back. And I remember Anakin came out and was like, replay the entire game, that's how it is in the rules. And I was like, oh my God, if they lose this fucking game. And then they lose it. And so now it's 2-2, and they go into Game 5. And Game 5, Classic is rolling. Now, Classic on this squad, they had Ghostayame, they had Chig, they had Soldier 187, and they had Best Man. And they end up taking the game. They end up losing in the finals to Demon D and the rest of the BTH squad, but they beat Triggers Down. So, Richie Heinz, this is the start of his curse. 2010, I didn't pick him as a 2010 event winner, but he was definitely in contention for it, kind of. I mean, he kind of dropped off in 2010. He kind of lost that drive to play well. He ended up on straight ripping a little bit, and he was kind of getting comfortable with just making the money that Dr. Pepper was giving him. But then 2011, the spark comes back, right? He gets on a squad, he's teaming with Formal, and they get an event win. And he's back to being Richie Heinz. He's really, really good. They're actually one of the only teams to defeat the God Squad, right? Like, they beat the God Squad, and they went on to win that event. I forget, it obviously wasn't Raleigh. Forget what event it was, but it was one of those. And then, so going into, it was the one right before Providence. And so going into Providence, I was saying, it's like, Richie Heinz has a chance to do this. They really do. And then I remember they got upsetted, and they got 5th, 6th. Again, Richie Heinz, every single national championship, is stuck at 5th, 6th. So Richie Heinz is going to be my 19th. Number 18, this is a player who, this is kind of more of my experience with him as to why I think he would be a top 20 player overall, and that's going to be Neighbor. Neighbor is a player who came, he was the miracle story before Snipedown happened. Before Snipedown, there wasn't any crazy people who would just all of a sudden get better in between just like one event and they became on Be God. There wasn't any of that. It was Neighbor who was the first. And Neighbor started off, his name was Toxin's Neighbor. Toxin was a Halo 1 veteran, very, very great 2v2 player in Halo 1. Toxin, notorious for that. He's also notorious for choking in the 2005 National Championship when he was on Legends going against Straight Rippin'. But so, Neighbor in 2007 gets on Straight Rippin'. Him and Tsquared start working hand in hand together after the first event. And, they get like 7th, 8th, and I'm like, Tsquared's career is just like take a fucking dive. Rest in pieces, Tom, right? And I'm an asshole, so I'm happy. And then next thing I know, they pick up Elamite Warrior, and then they pick up Legit. And this team comes together, and they are extremely good. They beat us. We get fourth. We get fourth twice in a row, and then they end up winning the Orlando event, which is one of 2 event wins that Neighbor actually has under his belt. He has only won 2 events, which is really weird when I was looking at that, because Neighbor has such a prestige name around him that you would expect it to actually be bigger than that. But that's exactly what it is. So after Halo 2, he went on to Halo 3. Halo 3, he wins his second event, which will be his last event of his career that he won, and that's going to be on Straight Rippin'. Now, a lot of people here may not know this just because they weren't around then, but in 2008, Final Boss was decaying in front of our very eyes. Ogre 1, Ogre 2, Side, and Walshy they got 9 through 12 at San Diego. And whenever an Ogre gets 9 through 12, they make a team change instantly. The only other time Ogre 2 did that is in 2011, when the first event went for itself in victory with Ola, and they got 9 through 12, and they part ways with them, and they form another God Squad. So that's essentially how it works. But so, they weren't happy at San Diego, and Neighbor's coming off this event win. And everyone's saying to themselves, I remember sitting there and I said, Straight Rippin's ahead of everyone right now. Like, they are that good. Now, was I paying that much attention to it? No, because as everyone knows, in 2008, I cared more about being retarded. And I'll leave it at that, because this isn't about me, this is about these players. So, even I knew that they were just so far ahead. Their teamwork was better, their understanding of the maps were better, and they had great chemistry, man. This team has been a team since mid-2007, so now they're going on a full year of being teammates, and that's huge, especially when you're top caliber players. When you all get along and you're all just getting better and better and better and better every event, it's amazing. You can't beat that. But so, Neighbor, somehow, with a decision-making that's it's one of the ones that just plagues the earth of Halo history, just plagues it. Because if he would have stayed on this Straight Rippin' team, he would have been a part of the national championship squad. He would have won. He would have won more events, and he also would have won the national championship. But somewhere around there, he gets the idea to join Final Boss, and the reason why he wants to join Final Boss is because he wants to save the name. He wants his name, because everyone at some point in their life, when you're a top player, has so much respect for the Ogres. Like, amounts of respect that you can't even really fathom. Almost to the point of fanboyishness. And I was that way. I know Neighbor was kind of in the same boat. But so Neighbor gets the sense of, I can save Final Boss, and I can also have my name live in infamy now, right? And it's all about having your name echo throughout the ages. And so he teams with Final Boss. Well, they end up finishing the national championship at 3rd, and Neighbor parts ways, and then he goes on to Team Instinct in 2009. In 2010, he was just kind of bouncing all the way around. I think he kind of stayed on, he was on Triggers Down for, I believe, the duration, so he finished out 4th at the 2010 National Championship. And then Reach, it wasn't it. But now in Halo 4, we see as Neighbor's actually returning. He just got 5th, 6th on Slaughterhouse, and he seems to be getting into the rhythm of things. So that's good. Moving on to number 17 here, this is Zyos. Everyone knows Matt Leto. Zyos, even if you don't know Halo 1, you have heard the name, and I'm sure you've heard a couple pieces of trash talk from him. It's called Teamwork. Hachi is one of the notorious videos of Zyos. Screaming next, always calling out ogres. Before there was a battle for, before everyone knew, like, the battle to beat Ambush, right? It was the battle to beat the ogres. And in Halo 1, Zyos led that charge. Zyos was it. Zyos is a 7-time event winner. He is also a national champion. He has the he has the World Championship Series national championship in 1v1s. He's also the Major League Gaming. That's where he gets his national championship from as well. So he's known as a free-for-all 4v4, and more importantly, he's known as a 1v1 god. The other thing about Zyos, and this is why I had to include him, is because not only did he win events in Halo 1, and we'll talk more about that here in a second, but He also won an event in Halo 2, and he is the only team in the 2005 season, alongside of Tsquared, Fonzie, and Fallacy, that was the squad, to beat STK in 2005. And that right there is a big fucking salute, because no one else could do it. Now, Zyos on that team, it should be noted that Philly 05 was also, it was part Halo 1, part Halo 2. It was a 4-day event. And the other thing is that it was Team Slayer only. Now, for a lot of people, they're like, Team Slayer only, is that a real event? And for me, I put an asterisk on it, but regardless, it is an event, and they won it. Now, the big thing about Zyos, though, as to why he's in there is, one, like I said, his name lives in infamy, and everyone knows it. The other thing is that before we started talking about God Squads and everything like that, he was the original. I remember I was 12 years old, and I watched a team cap a flag in 7 seconds on Battle Creek. Battle Creek! 7 seconds. I couldn't fucking believe it. Zyos was the team captain. He doesn't, in the video, he doesn't refer to people as their names. He wasn't like, oh, Darkman, right? He wasn't like, oh, Alex. He wasn't like that. He was like, player 1, why aren't you in your spot? Player 2, why aren't you in your spot? Like, it was fucking just mind-blowing, right? Like, that was the first time I learned about timing. Him and this TDT squad kind of, like, propelled the competitive Halo world, in my personal opinion. And, the other thing is that even though besides TDT, they eventually get dethroned by STK, and that's going to be the Ogre, Strange Purple, and Clockwork. They eventually get dethroned. But what happens is that he ends up reforming a team called Team FFA. It is Walshy, Killer N, Zyos, and Gintron. 4 just disgusting players who are known for their free-for-all skills as well as their 4v4. They come together, and they end up beating STK in 2 of the best series in Major League Gaming or Halo history, period. Game 11, the first event, or the second event, I forget which one it was Chicago. It ends Team Slayer on chill at 50-49. There's like 3 different battles going on. There's an 8-man POV going on, so everyone's watching all of it. It was the best series. I remember I sat there and I waited. I was like, who won? And then at the end, I saw it was Zyos and Team FFA. I couldn't fucking believe it. When you dethrone a God Squad, and when you're a part of a God Squad, your name deserves to make a top 20 list, in my opinion. So Zyos is going to be number 17. Moving forward, number 16. This is a player that you guys actually do know. Hashtag Kyle. Elamite Warrior. Elamite Warrior is a 7-time event winner. Outside of the people that I'll get to in a bit, he's got the same exact win. The MLG event wins as I do, but he also has another event win on top of that, and that's because he is the U.S. champion. Now, the U.S. champion was a Halo 3 free-for-all. That was the most frustrating thing on the entire planet. I remember I looked at the game types and I said, there's no fucking way I'm playing with this. Like, you spawn with like an SMG, and you have to find your weapons. Like, it was just terrible. But so Elamite Warrior won that. Now, Elamite Warrior, the reason I think he's 16th is because he got his start in Halo 2. He won an event in Halo 2. He made it into Halo 3. He won a national championship in Halo 3. He went on to still win events in Halo 3. And then on top of that, he was a part of the first team to win back-to-back events in Halo 3 history, which was Team Instinct in the 2010 season. That was with Cloud. Cloud was the first person individually to 3-peat and 2-peat, but Kyle, Elamite, as well as Roy and Lunchbox were a part of that team who actually did it. They excelled. They were the first team to repeat back-to-back events, and everyone thought that they couldn't be beaten. So, Elamite Warrior is there. He also has accomplishments like Best Support Player in 2008, 2009. He's always been up there. But the main thing about Elamite Warrior is that although Halo 2 and Halo 3 are kind of like his bread and butter, Halo Reach, he still finished in the top 6. With shady Halo kids, he finished top 6 at the last event of Halo Reach. He also never really fell outside of the top 12, and I know the top 12, we don't really talk about that as being good, but in regards of his effort level, it was. I mean, he got 4th a couple times, but really the last event is what means the most, and he got 5th, 6th. So, Kyle, Elamite, as everyone knows Kyle from the hilarious Maven video, is going to be number 16. 15 is a person that you guys know, and it's going to be Karma. Karma, now the reason why he's not higher up already. The reason why Karma is not in a higher place is because he literally had Halo 2, and he had 1 year of Halo 3, and then he just kind of fucking fell off. I mean, he was, in Halo 3, he was getting like 9 through 12s in the 2009 season, so it doesn't do it justice. And then at the event where, I forget what event it was, but there was like Halo Reach at an MLG event. It may have been DC. There was like 2010 DC. It may have been that event, or it could have been Providence. Actually, now that I think about it, it was definitely Providence. But they had Halo Reach as a side game, and then they had Halo 3 as the main game. And I remember it was Nated, Legit, Karma, and a fourth, and they didn't place well. And that wasn't even with all of the GOATs who are in the actual tournament of Halo 3. Like, they didn't place well in that. So Karma takes such a hit. He takes such a hit on the totem pole because of that. But let's talk about why Karma kicks fucking ass, huh? Karma is a 6-time event winner. He is also a national champion. He also has 2 national champions. He won the most money in the 2006 season, leaps and bounds over everyone. Karma, known for, he was my teammate on Team Carbon. He won 3 events in a row in the 2006 season. But from there, the bigger story for Karma in the 2006 season was, one, he became a household name because at the beginning of the 2006 season, Karma weighed like, I don't know, 320 pounds, and at the end, he weighed about 220, 215. So Karma, there was like this miraculous story of Karma losing weight, and there's this segment that USA did on him back when we had the TV show that really kind of toyed with his emotions. I remember when he watched it, he was like, holy shit, I can't believe I ever got that fucking big, right? And it was, it was amazing to see transform. It was one of the best things. But the other thing about 2006 season for Karma was he was the FFA GOAT. There was no beating Karma. So back then what happened was you did free-for-alls until you got to the top 16, and then you went on to the 1v1s. Now, in the 1v1s, Karma dismantled everyone. Sure, he had a couple good games. Versus, some people gave him good runs for their money, and I'm not saying they didn't, but what matters is it's the best of one. It's not like you play a best-of-3 series in 1v1s. It's one game, and he won them all. He won them all. He went undefeated in the 2006 season in free-for-all and 1v1. That is fucking insane. That is ridiculous to even contemplate. Like, so nuts. So fucking nuts to go completely in a game type that everyone believes is random. Right? Everyone in the Halo scene's like, fucking FFA is kind of random, man. In a game type that's completely random, Karma was able to stay within the top 16 so he can get into the 1v1s and then excel into winning every single time. Now, 2007, he focused more on 4v4s than he did free-for-all, and he was kind of clawing. He got top 32 a bunch of times, but he couldn't keep up. He couldn't end up getting back into the 1v1 spot, which was a dagger because, fuck, he was super talented at it. Now, with Karma, though, before they gave out MVPs, everyone kind of knew who the MVP was of an event. And Karma basically single-handedly kicked the shit out of, well, not single-handedly, I mean, he had a pretty damn good supporting cast, you know what I mean? But Dallas 07, Karma fucking decided that he was an unstoppable force that could not be reckoned with. He was the 2007 Dallas MVP, hands down, no fucking questions asked. And everyone, if you can ask anyone around then, I don't care who, Ogres, Walshy, Legit, Tsquared, anyone, I don't care, Elamite, ask anyone, Karma was the best player at that event, period. He was fucking 1,000 leagues over everyone else. He was just devouring everything in sight. It was one of the most impressive series I've ever seen in my entire life. And so that was it. That was his legacy. At the end of that, it's also important to note that on Team Carbon, Team Freaks and Team Carbon, because Karma also was in Team Freaks in 2005, which Shockwave and I were a part of with Strongside. he never dropped outside of the top 2 in his respected game, which was Halo 2. That's very, very good. And at a national championship. Everyone puts too much emphasis, I believe, on regular events. National championships are what make the difference at the end of the day because they have the most money and they're the most prestige. Just remember that. Now, in Halo 3, the only reason why Karma isn't considered, like, for me, isn't going to be put down at, like, 1920 is 1, because of the FFA, 2, because of the national championship, but 3, he went on to see some success in Halo 3. Now, in 2008, he was on Carbon, they dropped me, they got 7th, and then he was just like, fuck this, what am I doing, right? And he leaves, and he joins Triggers Down. Now, at Triggers Down, did Karma deserve to be on the team? That's up to anyone else, right? It doesn't matter because they won an event. Karma wins that event, and then they end up getting 5th, 6th again. The Triggers Down name getting 5th, 6th, which is just so cliche, at the national championship. It was a tough break for Karma. I thought that Triggers Down squad definitely had potential to actually do something else, but it's the way events work. Moving on to number 14. Cammy, a.k.a. Victory X. The reason Victory X, and I know a lot of people have this weird, dumb fucking understanding of what Victory X was. People are just like, oh, that's the guy who plays with Macchio, right? Like, no, dude, what are you talking about? Like, I hate hearing that, man. Like, it's so disgusting. But Victory X gets his start in the 2005 season. From the 2005 season, he goes into 2006, and he's able to attend Anaheim 2006. Now, at Anaheim 2006, we, Carbon, played FBI the Agency Winners Bracket Round 2, and they kicked the shit out of us. They beat us 3-2. They sent us into the Losers Bracket. Now, we eventually go on to take second, and we end up beating them, but right away, and in very infancy stage, Victory X has already seen success on the competitive scene, and it doesn't go away. In 2007, he joins up with the Agency, and he goes like third, something. He doesn't have the best reputation for event wins. He doesn't. And in fact, he only has 3 times. But in one of those 3 times, of one of those 3 events, he is a national champion. And probably one of the hardest competitions there was. Besides 2007 Halo 2, 2010 Halo 3 was probably the hardest competition out there across all of the fields. You could argue that anyone in the top 4 could have won the 2010 National Championship. Anyone could have. You could have put your money on any of them, and it wouldn't have been a bad bit. It wouldn't. But so he gets this start, and he starts getting better and better, and then Halo 3 comes out, and he still just is like kind of clawing at getting good. Like he's playing with instinct, he's jumping all around, and then he finds himself on Final Boss in 2009. And in 2009, I remember sitting there casting and saying, like, I don't know what's going on with Ogre, Fear, and Victory X. I just don't, like, they should be getting it. Like, this game, like, it's very, very good for them. And so they go through their force. They have Macchio, and then things just aren't going well. And then they drop Macchio, and they end up finishing like 7th, 8th at the 2009 National Championship, right? So 2010 comes around. And they pick up Macchio. They get like a 4th place finish, something like that. But then they grab Tots. So Tots gets dropped from Triggers Down, and FB picks him up. So it is now Ogre 2, Victory X, Fear itself, and Tots. And they see immediate success. They get 3rd. And I'm like, oh shit. Ogre 2 is back. This is good. This is great. This is great for storytelling. This is also exactly what we want to see. We want to see competition get better and better and better and better. Now, during this time, everyone thought Halo 3 was the most random game of all time because no team could win back-to-back events. Well, that's going to be disproved now since we just know, as I said earlier, Team Instinct with Cloud, Roy, Lunchbox, and Elamite have done that. Now, when they pick up Tots, Triggers Down decides to make the most questionable team change in the history of the world, and they drop Pistola. They drop fucking Pistola. Pistola, who is, we'll get to him, but Pistola, who everyone here knows, because you guys are Halo 4 guys, knows is just such a fucking savage, dude. Like, Pistola is notorious already. He is the greatest. Well, not the greatest, but he is a GOAT. He is an amazing player. And so they drop him. And so as soon as Pistola gets dropped, Ogre 2 goes, wink, and fucking sucks him up into his GOAT bubble. And now it is now Fear Itself, Victory X, Ogre 2, and Pistola. And this team, as soon as they form, they win their next event. Badass, right? Second event, they win. Badass. Third event, National Championship, they fucking light a fire under everyone's ass. They kick the shit. They just destroy. They win. Victory X, his reputation goes very far. Now, like I said, I put an emphasis on national championships and event wins. Sadly, you know, he only has 3-time event wins, but you know what? He did Halo. He was always in 2007, he was always in the top 4 in Halo 2. In 2008, he was always in the top 4 in Halo 3. 2009, he was floating around in the top 8. Doesn't matter. 2010, not only was he floating around in the top 4, but he also won the national championship. Now, 2011 Halo Reach, we see as Fear Itself and Victory X kind of drop off with determination, and so they don't see the same successes they saw in the past. Fear Itself gets on this fucking NOS truck and shit and on like a billboard, and Victory X is just kind of like hanging out. Well, luckily towards the end, at the 2011 National Championship, they end up finishing 5th, 6th, and then at the Columbus event, which is the last Halo Reach tournament period, Victory X, Fear Itself, Legit, and Hysteria finished 5th, 6th. So, Shady Halo Kids, which was Elamite's team, and Best Man, and Fear Itself and the guys on that squad finished 5th, 6th. They kept the final boss name, and that's where they finished. So that is why Victory X is going to be our 14th player. Number 13. Number 13, you know him best for wearing a hat and making your game types. This is going to be Ghostayame. Now, Ghostayame, this was a tough one. I really 12 through 20 was really, really tough for me to pick the order. It really was. And I know, I'm sure everyone right now is like, where the fuck is he putting Tsquared? Well, shut the fuck up. You can wait for that. Ghostayame is a 4-time event winner. He is also a national champion. I won that with him. In his respected game, well, actually, no, he was respected in both. But so, the big story here with Ghostayame is that he's attended 6 national championships. In those 6 national championships, only 2005 did he not place in the top 3. So 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, he was always in the top 3 at a national championship. That's fucking huge. Now, 2008 wasn't the best year for Ghostayame. Up until the finals, and besides for when, so the first 2 events in 2008, I'm on the team, it's still Team Carbon. We get 5th, 6th, and then we get 4th, I get dropped. They picked up Captain Anarchy, and then they get like 7th, 8th, 7th, 8th, 7th, 8th, 7th, 8th, and then they end up finishing top 3. Well, after that, Ghost starts shaking things up. He ends up on Classic. Now, with Classic, like I said, it was a very, very different team. They picked up Chig. It was Soldier, Chig, Ghost, and Best Man. And the big question mark was Chig. Like, can Chig actually play on this fucking team? And Ghost, if you ask Chig today, he will say that Ghostayame completely molded Ghost. And that is, Ghostayame completely molded Chig. That's huge. Ghost turned from a player who we picked up to dethrone gods. We fucking slayed a dragon, a final boss, with Ghostayame. Right? And Ghost, before then, just kind of made his presence known. He was actually referred to as Little Triple X, believe it or not, because he looked just like Triple X when he fucking came onto the scene. It was hysterical. So, Ghostayame played on EX. He was always in the top 4 in Halo 2. Period. From 2006 season on, he was always in the top 4. He also won a national championship. He also got 2nd at the 2007 national championship. But so, 2008, he gets 3rd. 2009, Ghostayame, like I said earlier about the triggers down choke, the 5th, 6th, the Richie Heinz curse, Ghostayame takes advantage of that. They finish 2nd. So that is why Ghostayame is going to be 13. Number 12, this is where we start getting to the juggernauts. these are the players who really, it's just like, holy shit, right? Like you remember, like, this is when legacies really start taking a toll. Number 12 here is going to be Fear Itself. Fear Itself has won 5 events. Fear Itself started in Halo 2. He was on 5K. That's really what I know him for. And they were just a staple at top 4. That was them. They always were notorious for getting top 4. And, you know, sure they had good series with people, but he teamed with Roy and Lunchbox, and they were just 4th. Now, when Halo 3 came out, a certain fire got lit under his ass that normally happens to a couple of people. And it's, you never really expect it, but it happens. It's a bug that you just catch. And Fear Itself starts putting in so much time into Halo 3, and he comes out and he is instantly a top player. At the 2008 season, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, why is he so good? And so I was like, oh, well, fuck it, right? Like, I don't want to deal with that. And so Fear Itself instantly is just, he's good. He wins 2 events in 2008. 2009, like I said, he ends up on Final Boss. He doesn't get the best of luck, but then he closes out with 3 event wins in 2010. Now, but in 2010, like I said, we all know he won the national champion. He got a co-MVP with Pistola at MLG Dallas or MLG DC. But the big thing with Fear Itself was the 2010 best sniper overall. Period. His sniper was fucking bonkers. He could curve the bullet like that shitty movie with Angelina Jolie and the actor who I hope to God never got another role after that movie because it was just so bad. It was just the worst movie. It's called Wanted. If you want to kill yourself, go ahead and watch it. Or watch The Purge. Either way. So Fear Itself is this just dominant player. He makes things happen with the sniper that you didn't really know were possible. He was, in 2010, he was Snipedown. In 2008 and 2009, Snipedown was it. But Snipedown runs into some technical difficulties in 2010. And then Fear Itself fucking picks up where he left off and he shines. Period. Moving forward. Number 11. Number 11 is going to be Saiyan. Now, a lot of people don't know who Saiyan is, but Saiyan is a fucking freak of nature. Saiyan was a Halo 1 and Halo 2 Pro. He was a part of Final Boss, Team 3D, SDK, and he was also, at the very, very beginning of Halo 1 CE, he was on Team DM, which if you guys are familiar with Rynoob or Gestapo or Dita, you know these guys. Household names here. Saiyan has 16 event wins. Of those 16 event wins, he has 1 national championship. This is only counting MLGs, by the way. I couldn't find anything on AGPs, and obviously I don't do locals, so that's out of there. But now, most importantly here, the run that SDK went on in 2005 was absurd. They win the first 5 events. They lose Philly 05, so they went 5-0. Now they're 5-1, and then after the TS tournament, which was Philly 05, they win the rest of the events. They win the rest of the events all the way until Orlando, which was September of 2006. That puts them at an 8-event win streak. Now, a lot of people need to know that a lot of people only know Saiyan from the 2006 season. Now, that is the worst Saiyan that you could possibly know because Saiyan just simply started losing drive. He did. He just simply started losing drive. But it doesn't matter. Like, Saiyan, I understand why Final Boss dropped him. Like, obviously because they saw immediate success with Strongside, but if you go back and you watch the 2006 National Championship, watch Lockdown Ball and watch Saiyan single-handedly fucking dismantle Carbon. I had the world's biggest mental block for Saiyan. I remember I was sitting top Carbine, and he's just top metal for no reason, and I have the first, 3 shots, man, and it's a 4-shot kill in Halo 2, and I'm like, and he turns around, and I panic. I'm fucking everywhere. My aimer, I'm crawl side. I'm on psychedelic drugs, and he just beats the shit out of me. And I'm like, fuck, this fucking guy, dude. I could not kill Saiyan, and it all stems back to a little tournament called AGP4 that he won. So I think technically he has like 18 event wins or something like that, maybe 17. I'm not sure. But so at AGP4, I played Saiyan. Now this is a Halo CE tournament, or actually Halo 1, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. At this event, Ogres aren't there. He's on a makeshift team, Saiyan is. And I play his team for top 12. Or no, for top 6. And he literally just does things to me that I just, every time I saw him, this was the start of the mental block. Every time I saw him, he just beat the shit out of me. Like, to the point where I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was doubting myself, and like, I mean, I was young too. I was like 13 and a half, 14, and he was just beating my ass. He would turn around, rip my face off. He would back smack me when I had camo. He had great eagle eyes, and if you don't know what eagle eyes are essentially when you stand still and you find you basically find the camo guy. That's it. I'm not gonna fucking say any more than that. That's it. Period. Saiyan at that event in the national championship, at that event in the finals, the grand finals. You can Google it. It's like Saiyan's Rampage or Saiyan Goes Nuts or something like that on TS on Chill Out. And dude, he has one of the sickest, ridiculous 7 kill sprees on TS Chill Out like ever recorded in the history of the world. Besides Ogres at on like SDK and AGP 3. Like, it's that nuts. Like, it's the most amazing thing in the world. Ugh. So Saiyan obviously deserves it. 16 fucking event wins. Crazy. All right, boys. We're down to the top 10. Coming in at number 10. I put Snipedown. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, like, why the fuck would I put Snipedown? Well, the reason I put Snipedown is because, one, he is a 4-time MLG event winner. I don't count AGLs with MLGs just because we're not on the same. AGL isn't on the same level as MLG yet. By the way, if you haven't bought your team passes, buy them. So he has 4 MLG event wins, including a national championship. But he also has 4 AGL wins, which puts him at 8 total event wins. Now, Snipedown is the story. He is every noob's dream. That's what he is. He is a noob's dream. Because everyone wants to show up to their first tournament and just destroy. And that's what Snipedown did. He showed up to his first tournament and he saw immediate success. And then, in the 2008 season, Snipedown, like, never dropped out of the fucking top 2. It was nuts. He ends up on straight ripping when Neighbor makes the questionable team change. And then he weasels his way on there, and then from there, everyone knows Snipedown has the best sniper, hands down. Everyone knows that for him. He is notorious for it. He is the sniper right now in the league. And it doesn't stop in Halo. It doesn't stop in Halo 3. It carries on. Halo Reach, Snipedown was kind of like, we still saw like glimpses of brilliance from him, but he finished. I think he finished top 6 at Columbus. He may have finished 7th, 8th at the final Reach event. But I know he stayed in the top 8 for sure throughout all of Halo Reach. But he was going to college. He wasn't really into it. It wasn't who Snipedown was. But, like, he won awards like Best Pure Slayer, voted by everyone. He was the best sniper for 2008 and 2009 season. Like, and he was a breakout player in 2008. Like, these are the things you hear, and you're like, so wait, you mean to tell me that he's never been to an event, and he got breakout player of the year, he got best sniper, he won the national championship, and then he won best sniper again? And I say, yeah. Like, that's fucking nuts, dude. Like, that name will forever live in the history books of Halo. Period. And now, on Halo 4, he is on a God Squad, which is Ambush. He is on the top team. He is. That's what he is. Snipedown, will he lose in the Halo 4 event? I don't know. I really don't. But he deserves the top 10 spot just because of this. Number 9. Number 9 is going to throw a little bit of people off, but I personally believe this is exactly where he deserves to be. Number 9 is going to be Shockwave. Now, Shockwave, the most important thing that I can say about Shockwave is besides all the awards, I think he has about 12 or 13 total awards voted on by the other pro players throughout his years of playing. Besides that, he has never, ever fallen outside of the top 3 at a national championship. That is fucking nuts. Nuts. Like, when you hear about these players, like, you hear about Richie Heinz, you hear about Snipedown, like, they have fallen outside of the top 3. The only people who haven't fallen outside of the top 3 in a national championship, besides Wave, like, Roy has fallen outside of the top 3 at a national championship. The only other people who haven't done that are, like, Ogres, Walshy, Ola. Like, that's fucking mind-numbingly crazy. But so, talking a little bit about Shockwave here. He has 5 total event wins. He's gotten best objective player. He's gotten best strategist. He's gotten, he was in contention for best up close, strategist, all that shit. But he competed, he got like top 8 and top 6 in 2v2s and 4v4s in Halo 1. Maybe not the best events. He went to Boston, he went to Philly, and he also went to AGP 4. Where he played just the 2v2. So he already saw success immediately in Halo. So then in Halo 2, outside of, everyone has different opinions, but I teamed with Shockwave. Outside of the Ogres, he was the 3rd best player in the 2005 season, period. Hands down. Hands fucking down, no questions asked. He was the next best player. He was it. He did everything. Everything from making the Heisman on people, from meleeing people, 3 different people getting a triple kill with the fucking ball, to having barbecue stains on his shirt, to brushing his teeth naked. Like, he was it, dude. Like, 2005 was Shockwave's year. Moving on to 2006, he's still on my team. He was still a top 5 player. Hands down, no questions asked in the 2006 season, and he also wins a national championship. 2007, this is where things get a little bit hazy for Shockwave. He ends up going away to college, and he ends up not playing as much as he used to, and so he kind of falls down, but luckily for him, his reputation is kept nice and concrete, and he gets 2nd at the 2007 national championships with Carbon. Now, Shockwave in Halo 3 was like, it was so random. Like 2008 season, he was like meh, right? Like he was like meh, right? Like, he was like furniture. He's like this fucking bed. Like, he's just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't care he's there. You may see him. What's up? That's what he was. But then the finals come around, or the national championship comes around, and he excels. And it's same thing for 2009. He just fucking excels again. He was on Carbon. Shockwave was on Carbon from 2006 all the way until his career ended in 2009, where he stepped down and became a caster for the 2010 season and the 2011 season. Moving up. Now this is the one you guys have been waiting for. Coming in at the number 8. My nose is just fucking dry. Coming in at the number 8 spot is going to be Tsquared. Now, I had a very hard time putting Tsquared in the 8th spot. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but just because I think he could have been higher. Like, the top 3 was easy. Top 5 was easy. 6 through 8 was tough because they were all interchangeable. But for me, this is my personal top 20, so go fuck yourselves. But so Tsquared is his name. It's so weird because like everyone knows I don't get along with the guy, but when you look at careers, you have to do this, right? He has 8 total event wins. He has won an event in Halo CE, Halo 2, and Halo 3. Halo Reach, he kind of drops off, and now, in case you guys are wondering, he works for GS Esports, and he does event coverage. He's sponsored by SteelSeries. These people, he's still in the gaming scene. He's just not a competitor anymore. But like Tsquared, like when you gotta stop. Like when I was doing this, like I stopped and I clicked back and I was like stroking my beard. It was like smoking a corncob pipe too. Like I was all fucking serious. I was just in there like Tsquared has been a part of Halo since the very fucking beginning. He was always in the top 3. Or he was always in the top 4 at Halo 1 events, which, if you've ever competed in one, which majority of you probably fucking haven't, very prestige. Halo 2, Same way. First team to dethrone STK in 05. Is stuck in third place at the end of 06. Well, from beginning mid to end of 06, he's stuck in third place. 2007, at the beginning, he's meh. He finishes 5th, 6th. They form straight ripping with the new roster with legit. They kick our ass. They take second. They come back. They kick the shit out of FB. And then now we go into the national championships where we beat them in a game 10, and they never got to play final boss again. Then that's Halo 2, right? And then Halo 3 comes around, and Tsquared. The one thing about Tsquared back when he cared, because I think Halo Reach he just didn't really care. Personally, I could be wrong. He ended up with Roy and Lunchbox and Tots, and that's just not a very. When you hear that team, it's like Roy and Lunchbox are like up here. Back then they were like they're up here, and you guys are, you know what I mean? But like when he cares, like at the beginning of games, Tsquared excels. He does. If he wanted to right now, like if Halo 5 were to come out like tomorrow, and he were to put time into it, like he's gonna be like a top 12 player. And that pains me to fucking say it, but that's what he is. He's that good. Like he understands games. He understands Halo so well because he's been doing it for so long. His longevity in Halo is crazy. Now, do I need to say all of his accomplishments? I know everyone knows like the best power weapon controller was like his category. He got best leader in 2008. He's a national champion. But like some of the shit he did was unbelievable, right? Like to us, like right now we're in basically the same stage as when like Tsquared was on MTV's True Life at basically the same state Halo's in right now for us, Halo 4. He was on TV for True Life, I'm a Pro Gamer. He went from MTV and wearing panties around his neck to being on a Dr. Pepper bottle. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, a Halo player was on a fucking bottle. He was on a bottle that I could buy from my 7-Eleven. Mind-blowing. Dude, not only that, because Halo was so big, and back then, well, not so big, but the community was so tight that just because he was on the bottle, he increased sales by, I think, like 1.7% because everyone a part of MLG bought that shit to support MLG. So, 1% of increased sales just because a person's on it's fucking huge. So whenever you hear someone say like, oh, Halo just, people tried to buy Halo. Like they spent so much money trying to make Halo an esport. First off, say fuck you. Esports is a gay name. It's a professional game. Second, say Tsquared has done things for products that most celebrities haven't. So go fuck yourself. That's what Tsquared's done. And that's why he deserves the 8th spot. And that's why it was very tough for me to not put him higher. So salute, Tom. I still think you're still not. I'm not cool with you, but you know, you have my respect. Coming in at number 7 is this one's tough to fight to kind of defend because he doesn't necessarily have all the accomplishments in the world, but he deserves it. Lunchbox. Lunchbox is Roy's twin. He started off in Halo 2. He was on Team 5K, 4th place, as I've already said. Goes on to Halo 3. He's on Instinct. He gets top 2 at the 2008 National Championship. 2009, I forget where he finishes, but doesn't matter. He was consistent up there. And then 2010, he's on Instinct, right? Like, he is Instinct. They're the first team to win back-to-back events. He's on top of the fucking world. They've gotten, like, Lunchbox has so many seconds that it's kind of sickening. Like, Lunch and Roy, I think they have, like, 7 to 10 second places in their life. Like, that's fucking, get the hell out of here. That's awful, right? Like, there's no place worse than second. 3rd place sucks. But, like, at least you can be like, oh, well, we would have beat the fucking winner. And this guy just got lucky. They got so lucky. You know, like, wow, we would have totally slapped the first place team. Slapped them. But so they can't say that. They can just be like, oh, yeah, we're number 2. And so Lunchbox, like, the big thing about Lunchbox is Roy gets all the credit. He does. That's what it's just how it is. Roy gets all the credit because he's the flashy player. He is getting the 4 shots. He is getting the snipers. He's throwing the ridiculous plus-minus games out there. Meanwhile, while that's all going on, like, Lunchbox is a better communicator. Lunchbox is better at strategy. Lunchbox is a better objective player. Lunchbox has more clutch plays, in my opinion, than Roy. Well, no, actually, I take that back. Roy had some pretty fucking ridiculous clutch plays. But so, Lunchbox goes on. So, Halo 2, he is a top 16 player. Halo 3, he is a top 8 player. Halo Reach, he's a top 4 player. He wins a national championship. Again, he forms the God Squad. Like, those 3 games consecutively, like, guarantee you being in the top 20 if you have the same accomplishments as Lunchbox. And that's what he did. Lunchbox, like, it sucks because I couldn't find like the 2008, 2009, 2010 like awards because I the other ones I have are just off of memory. But Lunchbox, man, such a fucking amazing player, and it sucks that he can't return because he's doing his electrician apprenticeship, but if I could have him back, I would, dude. He is so super talented, man. And he's a great guy. He's just a nicer version of Roy, which is kind of hard to believe because Roy's a nice guy. But anyways, moving forward. Number 6. We're about to get into the top 5, boys, but number 6 is possibly one of my favorites. Favorite to compete against, favorite to hang out with, favorite to watch. This is going to be Legit. Now, Legit has a different start off. He kind of has a similar story to like Snipedown, where he kind of just shows up and he does good, but he doesn't have like the exact same luck. The reason why Snipedown's success story was so crazy was because after he got 7th, 8th, he didn't drop out of the top 2 for the rest of the season. Well, Legit comes, he goes to, I think he went to New York. He went to New York, and then in the 2006 season, he went to 2 events, and then he went to Anaheim. And then we lose, like I said, to FBI, the agency, which was Macchio and Victory X and Pac and Slim. We lose to them, and so then we end up playing SV, Storm Ventures, Legit, Nated, Ramby, and Poon. We end up playing them for top 16, and so they fall out. So right there, that's the difference. Like, Snipedown would have beat the shit out of us in that series for his miraculous story, but they didn't. So, Legit kind of slowly but surely, and then the next event, they come out, and it's Chicago, and everyone knows I hate Pheasant Run. I hate everything about Chicago. I hate the Pheasant Run. Everything can burn down. It's like $70 cab ride. The people suck. Hotels even worse. Fuck you, Pheasant Run. I hate you. He comes out, and they take 2nd place as SV. They end up taking Final Boss to like Game 10. And then this is where the infamous whirlwind comes from. Nated, as everyone knows, goes down Blue 2, man, and he's got a one-shot. You just get fucking raped, just annihilated. So, tough break. But let's talk about Legit, right? 2007 and the 2008 voted best BR. He was the 07, 08, 09 best objective player. He's the 2008 national champion. And he was a top 5 player in Halo 2. Now, like, those last 3 things are crazy, right? Like, he has a lot of event wins, and actually, give me a second here, I meant to get his, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he also has the Dallas event. So he has technically 6 event wins. He's up there. He is very, very up there. When you go to total wins, it's tough, and when you look at total wins, like, he's right there. But the big thing about Legit is that everyone knows Legit as this beast fucking unbelievable player who will just dismantle your team. That's where Beast Mode came from. Beast Mode is based off of Legit. Now, in 2007 and 2006 in Halo 2, Legit had those abilities. In 2007 especially, Legit could just single-handedly fucking destroy you. He could destroy a team. Like, everyone says, oh, there is no Iron team. Well, fuck you. Legit can do it. Legit, as long as his teammates were not doing terrible, could single-handedly dismantle a team. It was the most absurd thing of all time. He was this young 15, 16-year-old just destroying everything in sight. Halo 3, 2008, 2009, same exact thing. right? And now, the reason why I give him the leg up and move him into the top 10, one, because, I think he deserves it, regardless of what anyone else thinks. I think he is the 6th best in Halo history. But regardless of that, he's still playing today. He's still doing Halo 4. He's gotten 2nd, 3rd. He won the Dallas event. He won the FFA. He is a top player still to this day. He's in contention for it. So that gives me legit at the 6th spot. Now on to number 5. We're getting close, boys. Everyone knows who fucking number 1 is, let's be honest, right? Everyone fucking knows, but who gives a shit? Number 5 is going to be Roy. Roy, everyone knows now that he's on 5K because I've done fucking 2 of his other teammates from that. I'm just going to list a couple accomplishments real quick. Anaheim 2011, this is the Halo Reach season. MVP. Also, Columbus 2011, MVP. Providence 2011, Halo Reach National Championship, dual MVP with Pistola. 2008, San Diego and Toronto MVP. The entire season of the 2008 MLG, he was the MVP. And then the first 2 events of 2010 season, which is Halo 3, he was the MVP. And that's going to be Orlando and Columbus. And now, just now, he won Halo 4 UMG Gaming MVP. Roy is our fucking boy. That's a lot of fucking MVPs in case you guys haven't really figured that out. He is a winner. He is a game changer. He is just like Roy, or he is just like Legit, but he takes it to the next level, right? What Legit had in Halo 2 and beginning of Halo 3, Roy has throughout Halo 3, into Halo Reach, into Halo 4. He is that good. Roy is a player who, and just to talk about Halo 4 here, Roy had 10 days of playing before this last UMG event where he ended up taking 2nd and dismantling Warriors in that game number 5. Dismantling. That's just how it is. Roy is so talented. Now, even, I remember playing 5K way back in 2007, and I never, we never had a problem with them. I think we dropped 1 game to them once, but other than that, it was always a 3-0. But every time I matched up against Roy, I could tell that mechanically he was there. Now, he was young. I think he's 2 years younger than me, so that puts him at 15. He's either 15 or 16 on 5K, or maybe he's somewhere between 14 and 16, somewhere in that area. So he's a young buck, and he understood it, and I knew at a very, very early time that mechanically him and Lunchbox were there. I could never tell the fucking 2 apart because they both had long hair and they both wore the baby blue 5K jerseys. I could never tell the 2 apart. I just always thought that Fear Itself, and I thought Fear Itself was pretty good too. He had his games, but I just thought Hokum was kind of like an anchor for him. And I was like, if they ever drop him, we could see them break into the top 3, but they never will. But Roy, from that point on, after Halo 2, Roy just excelled to levels that I knew theoretically he had the potential of, but he became this lion. And I refer to Roy now, in the sense of Halo 4, I refer to Roy as the knight. He's this talked about knight just strolling in with fucking chromed out armor, wielding the Excalibur sword, and his main job is to take down the fucking dragon that is Ambush. Will he do it? We have no idea. Only time will tell. But the knight just suited up. And he has a long fucking journey to go to meet that dragon on Championship Sunday Mountain. But that is Roy. That is the best way to describe him. He's talked about through all the ages, from 2007 all the way on to present. Roy's name is there. It's there. And so fucking salute. You are a good dude. He has one of the best hearts out there. He always takes time out for his fans. I salute you, sir. So that's number 5. Number 4. Number 4 is going to be the person who sits on top of that dragon, and his name is Pistola. Pistola is a wizard. He is known as a wizard, and before I get into all of his accomplishments, because God knows there's a lot, I remember I interviewed Richie Heinz, and I was talking on the Amateur Hour last night, which is a talk show with Black, Arsonist, and Junior Lives. and Arsonist reminded me that when I was talking to Richie Heinz, I was talking to him about picking up Ola, right? Because they had to pick up Ola because Pistola is just such a good player. Richie Heinz basically told me that Pistola, in a 1v1 battle, in a split second, in his mind, figures out if he should charge, if he should back down, what to do with the call-out, or what to do with the call-out that was given to him, and all of that goes into this like fucking split second just rationale of figuring out what to do. And he does it. Split second. Those three things. He looks at a player and he's like, should I go for that? And then he makes his mind. Just like that. And that's how he's able to stay alive. That's how he's able to skid away. That's how he is able to be this annoying player. But a little bit of background here on Pistola. Pistola started off in the 2007 season as a free-for-all player. I think he won 2 events in the free-for-all. I don't know. I didn't have it on the database, but I can check up with him. He has 11 total event wins, excluding AGLs. With AGL, I'm assuming that's going to be 2. He has 2 AGL event wins. He also has a 3rd place at the Chicago one. So, Pistola is that good. But, you know, so he started off as a free-for-all, and he was 13 years old. His dad came there, and if it wasn't for Pistola making money from that free-for-all, he would have never been able to attend another event, and his dad even told us that on one of my videos that I have up there. Very, very crazy how that all works out. The D's family their hearts are filled with gold, and they're some of the best people you can possibly meet. So let's talk about his accomplishments. Pistola is a 2-time national champion. I have a sheet for this. Don't think like I'm fucking doing this off of memory. Relax. He's the 2011 MVP with Roy in Providence. The 2010 MVP of the season. The 2010 DC Split MVP with Fear Itself. And then he won 2 MVPs in the 2009 season, which was Columbus and Dallas. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, it's so... Like, it hurts my head to think about, like, how much he's accomplished. Now, the only reason he's 4th and not 3rd is because of the national championships that are held above his head. Now, in the same sense of infamy, his name is going to live on forever. Forever in the Halo series. As long as until Halo just becomes this, like, work of fucking shit. If Halo 7, if we get to Halo 7 and it's nothing like this, you know, where it originated from. By the way, that's badass that I have that, right? That's the PC edition. If it gets to that point where people just lose it, then sure, yeah, his name will go down. But as long as Halo stays relevant, Pistola will always be talked about, period. And that's that. And he deserves it. He's a hell of a player, and currently he's on the best team in the fucking world in Halo 4, and right now he's the best player in Halo 4. He could have easily won the 2 events he's been to, or the 3 events technically. He could have probably been MVP of any of them. So it's kind of crazy. But moving on here into the top 3. Coming in at 3rd is going to be Walshy. Walshy, everyone knows Walshy. Red Bull athlete, retired, became a caster, kind of turned into a ghost now, which he always does for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. I think he's just trying to get a job, which I can't blame him because I got to do the same shit. But so, talking about Walshy's accomplishments. Walshy has been around since the start. He started off on Psycho Soldiers, which was a Michigan team. They came out. They actually defeated me and Strange Purple in 2v2s at Halo Nationals. This is how I first heard about Walshy. Halo Nationals, there was a 2v2 side. I teamed with Strange Purple. Going into top 4, we played Prisoner, Off-Host versus Walshy and Dragon Spear. Walshy, I don't think, dropped a single power-up, period. I don't think we got a single one, and I was known as a power weapon whore then, and he wasn't having it. He just said, fuck you. And Doug looked at me, and he was just like, we're fucked. We don't have host. And if you guys know Strange Purple, you know that's... he would look at you and basically be like, we don't have host. We're fucked. I'm sucking. And he would, like, try to jump out and, like, change his settings. It was just disaster. But Walshy has 3 national champions, all of them coming alongside of the Ogres. But more importantly, he has 23 total event wins. Bonkers. Right? But when you take it a step back further, he dethroned STK. He was the team to dethrone STK in the 2004 season. He created Team FFA. It was his doing, and he never looked back. They beat him 2 times in a row, and then Ogres basically said, look, our 2 teammates aren't as good as Walshy and Killer N. Do you want to join us? And they said, fuck yeah. And so then Team Domination was created. Walshy, among other things, besides just his accomplishments, is known for always interacting with fans, always having a Walshy chant at events. He started a clothing company called Kineto, and he's also known for montages. Like, he is a great dude. Walshy has been around for so long, and he's done so much for the community that you always he deserves the top 3. That's exactly where he belongs. And plus, even though his skill, like, Halo Reach, like, Walshy kind of fucking declined, right? And everyone here knows that, and that's why he is inevitably retired. Like, Halo 3, he still made the national championships, which is something that Ghostayame and Tsquared can't say. He still made the national championships in the 2010 season. He also finished second at the 2008 national championship. He also finished a lot of seconds because he was on Team Instinct with Roy and Lunch. And Soviet, of all people. Soviet, the god of LAN, awful at tournaments. But so Walshy has been around for so long. And even though his skill had started to decline, like, Halo 1, like, yeah, Ogres get a shit ton of credit, as they should. And we'll get into the Ogres soon. But, like, there's games where if you guys find the VOD from 2004 National Championship, like, Walshy drops, like, 23 and, like, 4 on a Team Slayer. Team Slayer on Damnation, actually. Walshy is playing, they're playing a business decision, which is Strange Purple, Nistic, Sergio, my man, love you, buddy, if you're out there. And I forget their 4th, but he goes like 24 and like 7 and just completely destroys. And it's weird to say that because it's like, oh, you have Ogres and Killer N on your team. How the fuck are you going to get kills? But so that's what Walshy did. Walshy was notorious for being the best strategist. He was also known as being one of the best up-close players, if not the best. The other thing was he was always on top of his weapon glitches. He was notorious for those. But from there, like, he always had this unique ability of putting teams together and always shining. Like, that's what he did. Like, he just found a way to make things work. And that's why you heard about him for so long, because he was able to do it. And he was obviously a fan favorite. That goes without question. But so, that is Walshy. Now we're going into the top 2. This is going to be the twins. Number 2 is going to be Ogre 1. Ogre 1, now, for Ogre 2, he tweeted like his stats, so it's perfect for me, but Ogre 1, I don't know his, so I don't get it. But Ogre 1 was my idol, right? Like, in regards to Halo, like, Ogre 1 was it for me. Like, he's the reason I wanted to be a main slayer. He's the reason I played the way I did. He's the reason, like, I positioned myself on maps even in Halo 2. Like, he is that guy. He is that good. Ogre 1, I'll never forget this, man. STK at AGP3. Now, everyone falls into this, like, bandwagoning sense, right? But, like, with TDT, and no one never thought that TDT was going to fall. So, back then, it was fucking awesome to root for the Ogres. Like, imagine that. Like, you were cool for rooting for the Ogres. You were a hipster, right? Well, I remember being in the stands with my brother, and I was like, dude, I want SDK to win so bad. And it's Team Slayer on Chill Out, and you back then, in this game type, you spawn with an assault rifle, and you had to find a pistol, and you find everything else. They fucking do the most unbelievable things, like, just ever, dude. Like, things that were 2 tournaments ahead of what they were supposed to be doing, they did to TDT, and they ended up pulling off the win. It was the best moment in Halo history for me. That is, bar none, my favorite. And I remember sitting there, and I was just glued to Ogre 1 screen. I was just sitting there like, my God. It's so fucking magnificent watching. So, Halo 1, Ogre won, 3-time national championship. He's won 23 events, not counting his 2v2s, and he has a 100% win percent ratio with Ogre 2 in 2v2s when they play together. They've never lost a tournament when they've played together. Fucking insane, even in Halo 2. Now, Ogre 1, the reason why he gets second is because he quit at the end of the 2008 Major League Gaming season to move to Australia. Now, you know, I wish he didn't quit, but like at that time, like if you knew Dan, you knew that like his heart wasn't in Halo anymore. But like he won 2004 national championship. He won 2005. He loses 2006. Fuck you, right? And then he destroys us in 2007. They don't drop a game. But like in this time, Ogre 1, you could flip a coin, right, in Halo 1. And you could pick which Ogre was better. But I would say 9 times out of 10, besides the people who actually played with them, like if you talk to like Puckett or Nistic, they all picked Calm as the better team, as the better brother in Halo 1. But anyone else you talk to, it's Ogre 1. So it's really, really difficult for Halo 1. Halo 2, Ogre 1 at the beginning was fucking God. He was still Ogre of the past. Mid-2006 is when he changed from not being the god. He kind of, I forget what happened then, but he just kind of drops down, right? I think it was just because Saiyan didn't play that much, and so he didn't play that much. Ogre 1 wasn't a guy who was going to run around and play random customs. No. I mean, he would, but like, he cares about winning, so he wanted to play with his team, and that's how it works. But so, that happens, and then 2007 rolls around, and when they pick up Strongside, Ogre 1 goes from a main Slayer to reevaluating his entire playstyle, which is going to be the exact same in 2008. So in 2007, Ogre 1 went from the main Slayer getting Sniper every time to kind of doing the objective work, being a filler. He was kind of, him and his brother, like, Ogre 2 was basically the second Slayer, and Ogre 1 was essentially like the objective guy. It was so weird to see, and I couldn't fucking believe it. But like even still, like the Ogres were still so talented together. Like even though like you don't hear about Ogre 1 being talked about in like the top 5 in Halo 2, at the end he was still a top 8, maybe top 10 player. It's really that close up there, man. It really, really is. And then Halo 3, it was the same way. Halo 3, Ogre 1 was the objective kind of guy. He never fell back into that role of being that dominant Slayer, that Slayer that I used to be able to watch and fucking sit there and be like, I can't wait to see what he's going to do. I can't fucking wait to see what he's going to do. It just never returns. So that's why he's number 2. Number 1, the GOAT. Ogre 2 will forever live in the history books. Doesn't matter if Halo goes to shit, he's going to go down as console history books. He has won 5 Major League Gaming national championships. Now let's just run down the stats that he tweeted. Main events, he's been in 43 out of 70 main events. In the 4v4s, he's won 39 out of 66. 2v2s, he's won 8 out of 13. So, but he is 6 for 6 with Ogre 1. 1v1/FFA, he has won 6 out of 40. So then total event wins, he has won 53 out of 119 events. Fucking insane, dude. Just unbelievable how crazy that is. And what's funny is like everyone likes to talk about like Ogre 2 slipped off in Halo 3, right? Well, when you crunch the average placings of all the players, like if you take just take the 2009 season, right? If you take the 2009 season and you crunch those numbers, Ogre 2 has the best consistent placings averaged over, like, I want to say Neighbor. Yeah, I think he's, like, the 8th or 7th. And if you do all of it, I think there's only, if you do all of Halo 3, I don't think there's too many people who are above him in best overall placings. I think Elamite's up there, I've got to think Cloud's up there. But, like, Ogre 2's still up there. And, like, it's so weird to hear, like, oh, Ogre 2's slipping. And he's getting, like, fucking 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, right? Like, that's nuts. Like, your name is that prestige that slipping is getting 3rd. Like, that's bonkers. But like the big thing with Ogre 2 was that, you know, at the beginning of his career, he was a monster. But he kind of lived in his brother's shadow. And then he kind of shadowed his brother. And then from there, his brother retired, and he said, you know what, fuck this. I still have the heart to play. I'm going to continue to play. And he ends up winning 2 more national championships. So he has 5 national championships. Tom, if you ever watch this, which you might, just so you can hear me suck your dick, I would love for you to return, but I understand if you can't, and I understand why you don't. The fact of the matter is that it came to the point now where Ogre 2 sat back and basically decided, you know, like, Halo isn't necessarily for me anymore, and the big thing is that all the new faces that came in gave him no respect. They're just like, oh, you get fucking carried by Ola, right? Which isn't the case. Watch the 2012 Columbus event, right? Like, people just, he didn't like the fact that he's so much more, I'm speaking for him, right? Like, this is how I would be if I was Ogre 2. Like, Ogre 2 has done so much in competitive Halo that for someone who's just won an event, like won, or like just placed top 4 and maybe beat them in a series, like, I couldn't fucking stand that. Luckily, Ogre 2 isn't an asshole. Maybe he's like a closet asshole, and I don't know about, but like, if I was Ogre 2, I would be fucking throwing things, I would be throwing the ratios right in their fucking face. I'd be like, listen, faggot. You know what I mean? But he's a good dude. But so other than that, I'm so super fucking tired of talking. This is my top 20. If you guys agree with it, awesome. If not, make your own, bitches. Other than that, special bulletin. APG is not quitting. Let's take that, fuckers. Other than that, peace.